Welcome to this week's episode of Time with Your Banker and Financial Advisor, sponsored by Ecobank Ghana Limited. We will look at the need for Ghanaians to save this week. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
We believe there's nothing Africa can't achieve when we're all on the same team. That's why we're right behind you, offering a full range of accounts for everyone. From Ecobank Direct and Classic accounts to Advantage and Premier Banking by Ecobank. Because there's no limit to how far you can go when you're part of our team. Ecobank, the Pan-African Bank.
Welcome back, viewers. We are still with the principal of the National Banking College, Mr. Philip Boabeng. He is also a qualified lawyer, and he has in-depth knowledge in banking. So if you have any problems that you need a brush up or a discussion, something related to the financial industry, you can always contact him. We'll put his number on the screen. Sir, you are welcome.
Thank you, Betty.
This is a new week, sir. Thanks for honoring our request. We know we are troubling you, but as our father, it's you who will always be troubling.
The pleasure is mine.
Yes, sir.
In the interest of banking and in the interest of Mother Ghana.
Yes, sir. So last week, we looked at the background of banking, how it started in Ghana, the way it started with the colonial banks, and then introduction of our own banking license to do particular businesses, and how it has come down to universal banking, where everybody can do anything, provided you are operating within Bank of Ghana required regulations. You can do anything. And then we kind of looked at the regional banks. I think we were on that. But before we got there, I remember we talking about banks getting themselves involved in the development of various sectors of the economy and not narrowing themselves to only the lucrative areas. And then you were suggesting that there should be a kind of incentive to motivate them into going to the Greek sector and the deprived sectors of the economy, which I thought was laudable. So coming back to the regional banks, have they benefited the country in any way? Because you mentioned that 20% of the banks now available are regional banks from Nigeria and some other banks that have merged with local banks.
Thank you, Betty.
Yes,
in the first place, foreign banks come in with capital. So the capital infusion in the economy, it's a good booster for the economy in the first place. We all know the employment creation, at a point in time, and those days when these banks came in, one of the employment avenues those days was banking. And everybody wanted to work in the bank. So it's created.
They don't weigh the stress.
It's created job avenues. But apart from that, apart from this, the competition that is brought into the system is awesome.
Yeah, I think last week we looked into the competition.
Yes,
and the innovation.
It's quite good. It's good. It agga works for the industry, and it agga works for the economy of Ghana.
But what role does the banking industry actually play in the economy?
Banking industry. There cannot be any serious economy without the banking system playing a pivotal role. The banking system, as we technically call it, as our financial intermediaries who mop up monies from so-called surplus units in the form of deposits and then give them out to the so-called deficit units in the form of a lending. You see, at any particular point in time within an economy, there are certain segments of within the economy or certain people who may have money now but may not have immediate use of the money. At the same time, there may be other sectors, other people within the same economy with brilliant entrepreneurial ideas, but who don't have the capital to go with it.
So
and
they
so
are the
assuming that there is no banking, assuming there's no intermediation, what it means that the person with the surplus money will be sitting on his money, and the one with the brilliant entrepreneurial ideas will die with his ideas in the head, and the economy will suffer. There will be no employment, productivity.
Somebody said the grave is the richest place to go to
Yes.
because most people have vast ideas that they could not.
Unfortunately, she's gone into the grave with all those brilliant motivational ideas as well.
ideas,
Yes.
all because of we could not bridge the gap when we are talking it into the financial sector.
Yes.
So you are saying that most people may have in abundance, that is monies they are not using.
Yes,
And
it may not
others
necessarily be in abundance. You know, you may have the money now, you may use it next week. Somebody may need the money immediately and get some money back next week. So right now, within the week, creating the gap, bridging the gap will be good for productivity and for the economy. And so there's always the need for that intermediation. Otherwise, one person will have to go around looking for somebody who needs money to borrow, and the person who needs money to borrow will have to go around looking for the person with money. It's not possible. There should be an intermediate, and that's the pivotal role that the banks play. And the interesting is when the banks also take this money, they are also to give this money out to the productive sectors of the economy, so that businesses, where they put their money will be productive. It creates employment, it generates further income, and it boosts the economy.
Yeah, and generates businesses.
Yes.
So
of course, there's no business who will be able to have all the cash that it needs, because by the nature of businesses, there's always imbalances in the cash flow. At a point in time, there's a lot of money in the business. At a point in time, you need to buy more money. There's somebody to give you what we call the working capital, to bridge that gap between the time that you need to spend and the time that you have the money. In addition, there are also what we call the capital. You may have your own capital, but you also need some amount of some money, some loan, some from somewhere also to add up to it. Otherwise, you cannot have all the monies to do all you need to do.
And that is the role the banks play.
Yes.
Bridging the gap between those who may have the money but not have need of it
Immediate need of it,
and those who have ideas and may not have money at all, or may have, yet they need a top-up.
Yes.
Do banks in Ghana give monies to those with ideas but not have money at all?
To a large extent, the banks would want you to also have a stake. The risk-bearing function, as we learn from our O-level economists, we are not SS economists, O-level economists, lies with the entrepreneur. And therefore, you also should have something, so to say, to lose.
That's what he's saying. He says he has business idea.
He has the business idea.
He's put it in writing, proposal.
The banks will expect some form of commitment in the form of monies that is come from you. Yes, I concede that, yes, the person, a startup you don't expect him to have the money. That's why sometimes they go borrowing from friends, relatives as a startup, as they are stake in it. That also ensure commitment. That's why the banks would want you to show some sign of commitment by also putting in something small. It depends upon the project anyway, and depends upon the risk appetite of the bank.
But because most people have ideas, they put it on paper, and you could see that these ideas can fly. But because they have nothing, nobody looks at them.
Yeah.
Yet, if should they fall on a friend or family member for them to start on their own, then you see the banks chasing after that business. When in actual fact, from the onset, they have come wanting kind of assistance.
That's the reason why the government, for example, puts in interventions like venture capital. The venture capital is there for such a person to go in into access. Aside that, I also know corporates as part of their corporate social responsibility who also encourages and finance startups. I remember Total not too long ago, organized such a thing, and the first 3 people who won, were given 100,000 as startups. So various companies, as part of their corporate social responsibility, going in there to really look at these startups who have nothing at all.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, banks, it's not in their gene to just go in to
Help,
for that. At least, let's see something on the ground, and we'll get you up.
So we'll take a short break. Viewers, will take a short break. We'll be right back. This program is sponsored by EcoBank Ghana Limited, the Pan-African Bank.
At EcoBank, we believe there's nothing Africa can't achieve when we're all on the same team. That's why we're right behind you, offering a full range of accounts for everyone. From EcoBank Direct and Classic accounts to Advantage and Premier Banking by EcoBank. Because there's no limit to how far you can go when you're part of our team. EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
Welcome back, viewers. We've been discussing the role of the bank in the economy. We still have Mr. Boabin, Mr. Philip Boabin, the principal of the National Banking College and a renowned lawyer. Stay tuned, sir.
Thank you.
This startup thing, why is it not in the genes of the bank? You being the principal, you should be able to talk for the banks. Gene in the banks to help startups, because I don't want to mention names. I know some businesses that are now booming because a staff in the bank saw a need of a customer, and he started by helping the customer in his own small way, later introduced the customer to the bank. Gradually, that person has one of the leading companies in the country. And now I can confidently say that he has over 400 workers.
We are not saying that banks completely shy away from startups. No. With my own personal experience as a banker, when I was in real banking practice, no, there was always the joy of seeing businessman, businesses, very small, that you help to grow. And when you see the growth of the business, you are so happy.
Yeah, it gives you joy.
It gives you joy. But the banks really have the eye to spot out businesses that have started and have the propensity to grow up and support them. But it is not in the gene of the banks to go around assembling startups with no funds and the banks 100% funding them. banks are financiers, and they finance business. And they finance businesses that have started, which can be groomed to be big businesses. And that's why I say that there are other interventions, including corporate bodies, who take it upon themselves as they are part of their corporate social responsibility to fill in these gaps by providing some startup capital for young people with such brilliant entrepreneurial ideas. I mentioned
Total.
I've just mentioned Total. The government venture capital is a public government intervention. Yes, it's a high up there. I understand. Maslock is also there.
Okay, Maslock. That one to set up by the government.
Maslock is also there. And well, the microfinance institutions, some of them are also doing well by helping growing these startups, and as they grow up, if possibly you grow up, you're taken up by savings a loan, from there you're taken up by a bank.
Why not stick to the microfinance? The role that the bank play, apart from bridging the gap between those who have excess money or money is not for immediate use, and those who also need immediate funds that the bank bridge, what other role do the bank play?
Oh, apart from providing capital,
Yeah.
In the form of long-term loans, and also for working capital, overdraft, and all other, banks are pivotal when it comes to trade, especially international trade finance. Banks made it possible for international trade finance through letters of credit. Few serious businesses abroad would want to give you the goods for you to pay later. No. And advance payment is also not the best. So banks provide the instruments, form of letters of credit and other ingenious instruments to help facilitate trade. So the goods that you see imported here, without the banks, they will be virtually impossible. Talk also about the payment system. The banks facilitate the payment system.
So, but talking about imports, I know for exports, when goods are exported, majority of the monies are done by transfer into the customer's account. But with importation, some of the importers, they carry hard currency outside and they buy, so they can trade, and it will never reflect anywhere in our books.
That is also, you are also telling me the importance of banks, even in international trade. That will mean that banks need to widen their nets wider, to
stretch it
to cover all this, to cover this Accra,
China,
Accra, Dubai,
Accra,
Togo, you understand? The challenges of bringing in the informal sector, into the mainstream economy. That's why I love some banks who have, for example, Chinese desks, because they know that our sisters and brothers, yes, really go to China, and they do it as you are saying. And how do we rope this informal system into the banking system?
Yeah, they say you were talking about payment system.
Yes, the banks play a vital role in payment system. Without banks, how can even the check system work? And now, thanks to GIPS and other innovations that has come into the payment system,
So what is GIPS?
Ghana Interbank Payment System.
Oh, okay.
It's a subsidiary of the Bank of Ghana, and they are doing very well in trying to bring us to a near cashless economy.
Which other payment systems are available apart from the money transfers and the card? Which other payment systems are also? Because now I could see that most of the mobile companies are also into
yes,
transfers.
yes. Now the digital revolution, it's really making the banks wake up. I wouldn't say they are in competition at the bank. It is good for the bank. At the end of the day, the money sit with the bank, and the banks will be able to have
because most of monies that could be in the bank in a day are with them.
Well, but they don't keep them in the safe. They keep them in the banks. They keep the physical money in the banks. The banks will need to set up and see how they can be collaborated. Can collaborate with such mobile money companies, and they revolutionize the banking. They've also helped in financial inclusion, and virtually everybody has a mobile phone now. And how do we make sure that those who can't come to the bank can still will be in a position to
transact business,
and be financially literate. So it's a good opportunity for the banks.
Thank you, sir. So we'll take a short break. Viewers, we'll be right back after this short break. This program is sponsored by EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
We believe there's nothing Africa can't achieve when we're all on the same team. That's why we're right behind you, offering a full range of accounts for everyone. From EcoBank Direct and Classic accounts to Advantage and Premier Banking by EcoBank. Because there's no limit to how far you can go when you're part of our team. EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
Welcome back, viewers. This program is sponsored by EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank. We are still on the role of the banks in Ghanaian economy, and still with Mr. Philip Boabin, a renowned lawyer and a banker. Sir, why do we need to save?
It's key, both at the individual macro level and at the national level. Let's start with the macro at the national level. No nation will develop seriously if you don't inculcate into your citizens the habit of savings. If you look at economic history, you know about Protestant ethics, where the dominant idea at the time was save, accumulate wealth, make the generation after you better than you. So the people worked hard. They saved. And the accumulation of wealth coincided with the Renaissance. And this triggered off Industrial Revolution. That is the Western countries, the Industrial Revolution that virtually changed the world. If you don't save, how would you get the capital accumulation to be put to productive use?
Even startups.
Yes. Yes. And nobody will come from outside to bring you the money, necessarily bring you the money to do your startup business. So you need to save. We need to save as a nation. As an individual, your expenditure levels and your income levels at any point in time will not be the same. At a point in time, you'll get more money than you will need. At a point in time, you will need more money than you have. How do you manage that gap? You need to save for the rainy day.
Yeah.
Today you are healthy and kicking. Tomorrow you may be sick. If you don't put something down the time when you are sick, and the time when you are not even been able to work to get an income, how do you even get the money to care yourself? So as an individual, at the macro level, at the individual, savings is important. And we need to calculate the saving culture. I like the principle that says that when you are working, whatever business, whatever you are doing, pay yourself first. And what you pay for yourself is your saving, 10%. And that is your saving. Don't touch it. That is what belongs to you. All the others it can belong to, but that 10% is what belongs to you. That is what it is yours. That is what you can come to when you are
hard-pressed.
Yes, hard-pressed.
Sir, I've realized that most young people, especially those who have just landed themselves very good jobs from the university, they lead lives that you just can't think about. Every day, spend. I think that this is the time for them to rather be saving.
Yes, you are right. I believe that financial literacy education should even start at the basic level through SSS. So by the time the person completes school, the person financially literate, they understand savings, they understand the need to save, so that some of these things will be reduced. Probably we also didn't do well. If initially we inculcate these values in them. That's why I think that initiative of the Ministry of Finance for Financial Literacy Week, did they do it last year? It was supposed to be yearly. It's quite good. And it should not just be a week for financial literacy. It
should be a continuous thing.
Continuous, and it should go down to the schools, basic schools. And sometimes the banks are also to blame. I remember those days we were teaching law relating to banking, and we tell you that minors don't open accounts, and it's not the best. Should encourage kiddie accounts. Some banks are doing that.
Most banks are into kiddie accounts now.
But those days they were not. That child say, you are below 18, you can't save.
Sir, then the post office bank was there. I remember having an account with the post office bank.
And you were
I was 12 years, but the condition was that you can't withdraw until you are 18. But I used to have an account with the savings.
That would be great. That would be great. Right as we are talking, do we have banks who have set accounts where you say you can't withdraw until you're after 18? That could be great.
Most banks have the kiddie account, but they allow the trustee to or the parent to manage the account until the child turns 18 and transfers.
Yeah, so I'm saying that the kiddie account, those trust accounts for the kids should be encouraged. Okay. That showed the need to inculcate the saving culture in the youth. You understand? So we need to, and the parents to have responsibility, also to encourage the children to also to save. Sometimes the pocket monies that we give them, let's encourage them to also put some aside. Let them have the pride of
owning their own account,
and their own money.
Yes, sir. So this is where we'll end today's program. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Then the time runs like something. Viewers, this is where we'll end today's program. You have been watching Time with your banker and financial advisor with me, Betty Ayi, and with the principal of the National Banking College, Mr. Philip Boabin, who is a chartered banker and a lawyer. Stay tuned. We'll meet next week. This program is sponsored by EcoBank, Ghana Limited, the Pan-African Bank. Catch you.